Most people using Claude Code right now are getting maybe 30% of what it can actually do. Not because they're doing anything wrong, but because they've never installed a single extra skill. No structure forcing Claude to think before it acts, no research tools, no web access, no design system, just raw Claude Code doing its best with no scaffolding. I've been testing 5 specific skills and plugins over the past few months. And these are the ones that actually changed how I work. Each one takes a single conversation to install, and they're all free to get started. And by the end of this video, you'll have all 5 running. I'm also dropping links to every single one of these in the description, so you don't have to hunt for anything. Let's get into number 1. Superpowers, and it's the single most impactful thing that I've done for my Claude Code setup this year. Here's the problem that it solves. By default, when you ask Claude to do something, it just starts doing it. You type a prompt, it starts writing the code or making changes. No planning, no clarifying questions, no verification, which sounds efficient until you realized it misunderstood what you wanted. And now you're spending tokens fixing something that should have been right the first time. Superpowers is a free plugin that installs 14 skills into Claude Code and forces it through a proper 5-phase process on everything it does. Clarify, design, plan, code, verify. Before Claude writes a single line, it stops and asks the right question. It maps out the plan with the exact file paths and task breakdowns. And at the end, it verifies what it built actually works. I run a proper test on this, 12 automated sessions, 6 with superpowers, 6 without, same prompts, same model. We got 9% cheaper runs, 14% fewer token used, and measurably better output quality on anything that wasn't trivially simple. One of my favorite parts of the plugin is the visual brainstorming companion. When you ask Claude to design something, Superpowers spins up a local web dashboard where it shows you options, mockups, and layouts before committing to anything. You pick what looks right. It builds from there. No more imagining what the results will look like. You see it first. However, where you don't want to use superpowers is when you're doing fast iterative design. Say you want to change a button on your website, do not use superpowers. It's just a huge waste of time. So I personally use it when I start a big project or feature because it's just so good at asking questions. To install it, open Claude Code, type plugin in the chat and hit enter. That opens up the Claude Code plugin marketplace. From there, grab the GitHub link from the description, paste it into the marketplace search and add it. Once it's added, go to your plugin section, find Superpowers in the list, and just enable it. Done. And if you want to go deeper on this, check it out, link in the description. The second skill is the Notebook LM integration. And if you haven't seen this one yet, is going to be the one that surprises you the most. Google's Notebook LM is one of the most powerful pre-research tools that has ever been built. You give it sources like PDFs, YouTube videos, web articles, and it generates slide decks, podcast-style audio summaries, mind maps from those sources. It's an incredible tool, but the way most people use it, manually adding sources one by one and clicking generate button by button, is the slow version. When you connect it to Claude Code, you skip all of that. One prompt is all it takes. You say, hey Claude, research the latest trends in AI for creators, load 20 sources from YouTube and the web, and generate a notebook with a slide deck and a podcast overview. Claude does the entire job. It finds the sources, loads them into Notebook LM, and generates the assets without you opening Notebook LM once. The thing I want to make clear is that Notebook LM is completely free to use, which means that you can run unlimited research sessions, build unlimited notebooks, generate unlimited podcasts at zero cost. Claude handles the curation and automation. Notebook LM handles the heavy processing, and you just get the output delivered. To set this up, you need a skill file that connects Claude Code to Notebook LM. It installs a Python package under the hood that asks you to log in with your Google account once. After that, It just works. I have a full dedicated video on this setup step-by-step walkthrough. It's in the description, and the skill file itself is completely free in the Skool community. Number 3, Karpathy's Graphify. Okay, this one comes from Andrej Karpathy, one of the founding members at OpenAI and one of the most respected names in AI. He talked publicly about how he uses knowledge graphs for his own projects on how to make AI navigation dramatically more efficient. Someone took that concept and built Graphify, a tool that applies the same approach to code bases and project files in Claude Code. Here's the problem it solves. Every time that you start a new Claude Code session, it has to reread your files and understand what's going on. In a small Claude project, that's fine, but if you got a project with hundreds of files, Claude spends a massive amount on tokens figuring out what connects to what before it even starts helping you. Graphify solves that by just turning your entire project into a queryable knowledge graph before the session starts. Think of it like this. Your project is a city, every file is a building, every import or connection is a road. Graphify maps all these roads out so Claude can navigate directly to what it needs instead of walking every street by foot. The result, up to 70 times cheaper when you're querying a large code base because Claude rides the graph directly to the relevant parts instead of loading everything from scratch. It works across 25 plus programming languages and it's multimodal. It can read PDFs and audio files too. To use it, just install a repo, run Graphify command in your project, and then use the / command to query it. The visual graphic it generates is also genuinely useful on screen during filming. It shows which files are the grand central stations of your project and which are the stops on the line. You get the best results on projects with 500 files or more. For smaller projects, the overhead just isn't worth it. But then we got number 4, Firecrawl. If you ever tried to scrape a website or had Claude try to do it, you know the problem. The web is a mess. Cookie banners, infinite scroll, JavaScript that loads content after the page, ads everywhere. When AI reads a raw web page, it ends up with a wall of HTML noise instead of the actual content, which means you burn tokens processing garbage, and the output is worse than it should be. Firecrawl is an AI agent tool that takes any URL and converts it into clean, structured data that AI can actually use. No HTML soup, no ad content, no banners, just meaningful information. And the token savings are real, up to 80% cheaper comparing to feeding raw HTML into Claude because there's just less noise to process. The real use case I want to show you is lead generation, because this is something creators and operators actually care about. Let me show you what happens when we give Claude a prompt like, use Firecrawl to find me the 20 leads in the pool cleaning business in Austin. I want their name, email, website, and 2 interesting facts from their site. Give me the results as an interactive HTML doc. Claude fires off the request, Firecrawl pulls the data from the web, and a few minutes later, we got a fully formatted document with 20 real businesses, their contact details, and insights pulled from their websites. You can export it as a JSON, CSV, Excel, every format you need. And you can run the exact same approach for competitor research, content research, or any other intelligence gathering that you do manually right now. To set it up, go to Claude Code, manage connectors, and add a custom connector. Paste in your Firecrawl MCP server URL from their docs. You'll need an API key, create a free account, and you'll get 500 credits to start. The free tier is actually generous for getting started. But then we got number 5, awesome design. The last one is for anyone who's ever tried to build a website or landing page with Claude Code and got something that technically works but looks like it was built in 2009. Claude Code is genuinely impressive at writing functional code, but design, it doesn't have a natural eye for what looks great unless you give it a reference. And that's the exact thing that awesome design does. It's a GitHub library with 68 complete design systems, each one built by reverse engineering a visual identity of some of the best design brands in the world. We're talking Apple, Lamborghini, Claude itself, and dozens more. Each design system has the typography, the color palette, the spacing rules, the component styles, everything. You tell Claude which one to use, and it builds your site in that aesthetic. No mood boards, no back and forth, no designer. Here's what this looks like in practice. I install the repo into Claude Code and say, build me a landing page for my AI automation service in the style of Claude. Claude reads the Claude design system, the typography, the navy, the white palette, the clean minimal layout, and outputs a fully styled page that actually looks professional. And if I want to tweak it, I just say, change the headline, make the call to action button more permanent, done in seconds. One thing to know is that this is a library, not a skill. So these are predefined design templates, not indefinitely customizable from scratch. The quality does vary across the 68 options. So my recommendation is to run it 2 or 3 times with the same prompt and pick the best output. The top designs, the ones inspired by companies like Apple and Claude, are genuinely impressive. Start there. And that's all 5. You can install every single one of these in a single conversation with Claude Code. Links to all 5 are in the description. Go run them, and your agent is about to get a serious upgrade.